Well, I'm sure we've all heard that famous story by Shakespeare called Romeo and Juliet. Well, just this year in Europe, there was another love story unfolding. In the article Dying Together by Nancy Gibbs, published in Time magazine 2009, talks about Sir Edward Downes, who was the former conductor of Britain's Royal Opera. He and his wife Joan died together in a Zurich clinic while holding hands. His wife Joan had been diagnosed with terminal liver and pancreatic cancer. So since euthanasia is illegal in Britain, they ended up in Zurich. So the clinic didn't question their decision. They just simply, they paid $7,000 apiece and they passed together. Sounds like a love story to me. But the problem was that Sir Edward Downes was not terminally ill. Sure, he complained of failing eyesight and failing hearing, but as an 85-year-old man, that goes along with age. So the clinic videotaped the deaths, showing that there was no coercion to save themselves from lawsuits. And so they had a choice. They had the choice to say whether they wanted euthanasia or not. We don't have that choice, and I believe that we should. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention says that 631,636 people died last year from heart disease. According to Cancer Facts and Figures 2009, there are an estimated 562,340 deaths every year from different cancers. Also, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention reports that 14,561 people died last year from AIDS. So, to better understand why we should have the choice of euthanasia, first we are going to inject ourselves into the ins and outs of euthanasia. Second, we will overdose on what causes people to choose euthanasia. And finally, we will die to our ignorance and look at solutions. Based on statistics, we can see that thousands of people are affected every year by terminal diseases. So, let's look at some facts about euthanasia. Euthanasia is the act of assisting someone in taking their own life. But we're not talking about helping someone slit their wrist. They're simply given medication that slows the process of breathing and thinking, your heart rate and stuff like that, and they die. Dr. Kevorkian was the first person in the United States to actively participate in euthanasia. We can see here a picture of Dr. Jack Kevorkian, who is also known as Dr. Death. In the article Dr. Kevorkian's Death Wish, published in Newsweek in 1993, it talked about the controversy around his assistance. He assisted in 15 different cases and was charged with murder 3 separate times. Each time the charges were dropped because at the time Michigan didn't have a law explicitly stating that suicide was illegal. But what happened was he got his medical license suspended because of these charges, and so he ended up having to make his own death mask, which was basically a mask that the person would put on, that they would pull a pin and the carbon dioxide would come in, and they would breathe in the gas and they would pass within a minute. So the choice for euthanasia is also one that not everyone seeks. According to the article Grappling with Suicide, published in Modern Healthcare in 2009, it says that the state of Oregon has had a euthanasia law for over 14 years now. And during that 14 years, as of 2007, only 341 terminally ill patients actually chose to take their own lives with euthanasia. Another 200 people who received the medication and the authority to commit euthanasia chose not to use it. Last November, Washington passed Death with Dignity Act, making it the second state in the United States that allows euthanasia. The kinks are still being worked out with that case, and the hospitals and administrators are deciding whether they want to participate or not. So now that we're clear on what euthanasia is, let's look at some reasons for choosing euthanasia. There are several diseases that can kill you. But today, we're going to look at pancreatic cancer and the costs of treating them. As you can see here, there are tons of different diseases where people would actually suffer and be in a lot of pain. and choose to end their lives. I have here a picture of Patrick Swayze, who was recently passed from pancreatic cancer. Pancreatic cancer is the fourth leading cause of death for cancers. According to the American Cancer Society, out of the 42,470 diagnosed every year, over 35,000 of those will die, and most of those within the first year of diagnosis. According to the article, What Makes Pancreatic Cancer So Deadly, by Melinda Warner, published in Scientific American in 2008, she asked Dr. Allison Ocean, an oncologist who specializes in gastrointestinal cancers, what makes pancreatic cancer so deadly? And she said that most of the time pancreatic cancer isn't even seen until it's in its advanced stages, because it doesn't show any signs or symptoms until then. So, what does it cost to try and treat pancreatic cancer? To give you an idea, the article, A Cancer Drug Shows Promise at a Price Most Can't Pay, published in New York Times 2006, says the drug Avastin, which is used to treat several different cancers, is between $4,500 and $8,000 a month. That doesn't include doctor visits, different tests, blood tests, any machines they might have to hook you up to. That's just the cost for the treatment. There are many different situations where having the right to choose would be beneficial. So I bet you're anxious to know what you can do. First of all, talk to your family. See what your family's opinions and ideas are about euthanasia, and if they're ever on their deathbed, if maybe you might have to make that decision for them. Second, you can talk to your local representatives. The last time a euthanasia bill came up in California was 1992, and it lost by only 54 to 46, so it was pretty close. Marcella Lawrence, a 67-year-old woman suffering with heart disease and emphysema, was one of Dr. Kevorkian's patients. She once said to a family member that she wished that the lawmakers could have her paying for just one night. Now that we better understand euthanasia, have seen why people choose it, and have looked at what we can do, I hope you will be more willing to fight for your right to die with dignity.